Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Eric the Old Jarhead here. Today, I'm going to talk about the simple, easy way that I use to adjust my solar panels to get more sun throughout the year at different times. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, as well as in the Southern Hemisphere, the position of the sun is at different elevations or different heights in the sky. So in the wintertime, it's very low on the horizon here. I'm around the 48th parallel. And actually, I'm not that far from the 49th parallel. So here in the summertime, the sun can be straight up above just about, whereas in the wintertime it's barely over those treetops over there. So how do I adjust my solar panels to try and catch the most sun that I can out of them at different times a year? And that's what I'm going to talk about today. The first thing you really need to do is you need to know what latitude you're at. What is the parallel that you're nearest to? So here, I'm really close to the 48th parallel. I'm between the 48th and the 49th, but I use the 48th as my guide. In theory, throughout the year, if your panels were just set at 48 degrees, you would get a good average production from them. And that's why up on the roof behind me, those panels at 45 degrees actually do very well. They do better in the summer than in the wintertime, but they still get pretty good production throughout the year because they're very close to that 48 degrees. However, my ground mount panels, which are adjustable, I can adjust them to catch more sun. The simple way to do that is to take that parallel that you're nearest, so the 48th, and either subtract or add 15 degrees. And that is really for 2 times a year, December 21st, June 21st. So the winter solstice and the summer solstice. Obviously, if you want to adjust your panels more times of the year, you can. And if you do 4 times, then halfway between the summer and winter solstice, adjust your panels at 7.5 degrees instead of 15. So what you do is you adjust your panels 15 degrees from the latitude that you're at. So in my case, 48 degrees. All I got to do is add 15 or subtract 15 degrees. So in this case, it's summertime. We're just past the summer solstice. What I need to do is I need to take that 48 degrees and take 15 degrees away from it. That will give me 33 degrees. So I need to adjust my panels 33 degrees so that they're pointed up at the sky at a very steep angle. Well, I guess it'd be a very shallow angle, right? Tilt them back, aim them up. That's what we're going to do. All right, I got to pause myself here for a moment, folks. I think this is kind of an important thing to bring up. That 15 degrees is for my location, and it's one of the things I kind of forgot to mention in this video. At this latitude, 15 degrees works very well, but if you were down in the southern United States, you might be closer to 10 degrees. And if you're at the equator, it'd be around 0. In the winter time, if I want to prepare for the winter solstice, then all I do is I add 15 degrees, which would take them, of course, to 63. So you take the panels and you tilt them up to 63 degrees. Now, as a sidebar, in the middle of summer, up here in the Northern Hemisphere, especially farther north like this, you can actually tilt your panels way back if you want to. I don't, because I like to catch more of the morning sun, but at 33 degrees at this time of year, when you're at solar noon, you're going to be very close to perfectly parallel to the sun. And technically that would be perpendicular, right? The solar panels are like this, the sun's like this, and it's going to hit that solar panel straight on at solar noon. And that's the objective here. Whereas in the winter, the sun is so low on the horizon, I tilt my panels to 63 degrees, but what I can do is I can also tilt them even steeper, even all the way to 90 degrees, because there's going to be snow on the ground, and that sun will reflect off the snow and hit the panels, and they'll also shed the snow very well. Now, to be honest, I don't do that. I usually only tilt my panels a couple times a year, maybe 3. It just depends on what my solar production's like, but because of the panels on the roof, I really don't have to adjust my ground mount panels very much. So these panels are 615 watts compared to the roof, which is 1830 watts on the roof. So it's 3 times as much power, folks. They just don't produce nearly the power that my roof panels do in the summertime. But in the winter, these panels produce the most power because the panels on the roof often get covered in snow or shaded. They don't catch as much sunlight. So I do get really good production with this ground mount panel by tilting it in different directions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple tools and show you how I adjust my solar panel. This one will be different than a lot of others, but the principles are the same. Just got to adjust the panels, get them to 33 degrees so that I can catch more sunlight. So let me go grab some tools. Let's get to it. All right, the first thing I got to do, and I'm going to get Tim's help to do this, but I've just got to loosen up these 2 bolts right here, and that will allow the whole panel to swivel. However, one of the things I have here is I've got a magnetic gauge, angle gauge or angle finder that I'll be able to watch as I adjust my panels. If you'll just hold, maybe actually if you stand on the edge there and just hold the panel so it doesn't drop on me. Because what'll happen is, as soon as I loosen these up, this panel is bottom heavy, and I don't have 2 wrenches with me, so I got to use my pliers. Once I get the second one loose, then the whole thing will just rotate down. I always tighten these so tight. Okay, that's one. I originally had this design with my neighbor so that I could put a tracking system on here, and I never did. All right, now can you lift up on the bottom? Yep, see if you can lift up. I might have to loosen it a bit. Is it heavy? Oh, okay. Yep, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Stop. Okay, a little bit more. Just a hair more. Right there is good. Okay, let it drop just a touch. Right there should do it. Okay, now, go back and tighten this up. And then tighten this one up. Okay, let go. Had to wiggle it to make sure it wasn't going to go anywhere. Yeah, pretty close to 33 degrees. That's pretty good. All right, so the first thing you probably noticed was these panels tilted way back. That's actually good because as the sun rises throughout the day, and we're just after 11 now, so we're pointed much better. Now, if I were to tilt them back even further, I would catch the sun really strongly between 11 and 1. But like this, I'm going to catch it a little bit earlier in the day, so it's going to work fine. And I like these panels actually to catch sun earlier than the ones on the roof. It just gives me a little extra production in the morning before the ones on the roof take over. And I will tell you, a lot of guys will put up another set, which would be a 3rd array in my case, and have it facing to the west or to the southwest to catch even more sun. So if you were using just ground panels, you could actually have them set in 3 different directions. Or like this case, my panels on the roof are actually set due south. So if I were to have this panel set a little bit more to the east, and then set up another set and have them face to the west, I would be picking up production far longer throughout the day. And yes, you can use 3 charge controllers. Now, there are charge controllers that allow multiple arrays, at least 2. So one of those might be kind of nice, where you have one set of panels facing east and one set of panels facing west. But in this case, I'd probably just add another charge controller. And let me show you what I've got going on here. All right, if you look, you'll see that red line is sitting right here, and it's really sitting, that's about 33.5 degrees, which is fine this time of year. That'll work great. And these are great. This just pops off, clamps back on, and truth be told, I just leave it here year round. I don't even pull it off. It's shaded by the panels, so it's not getting a bunch of sun that's causing any damage to it. Pretty neat little tool. I can drop a link down below to where you can find these on Amazon. They're pretty inexpensive and they work pretty good. Let's take a look at the other side. If I look at the sun is still to the east a little bit, and it's pretty close to being perpendicular to those panels. So as the sun goes across the sky now for the next few hours, those panels are going to be cranking out the power. Well, up to the 615 watts they can produce. That's tilted way back, isn't it? Something else I thought I would talk about is the dust on the panels. So a lot of folks say, how do I clean my panels off? And how often should I do it? And should I do it? And all that kind of stuff. And honestly, folks, I almost never clean these panels off. The rain's going to clean some dust off of them. The dust doesn't seem to impact it that much. I know that there are those out there that are really technical who are going to know that, this amount of dust is 1 or 2% loss in production or something like that. Folks, you know what? I got a cabin in the woods. They're going to get dusty. That's just going to happen. And, I could go ahead and spray them off if I wanted to, but frankly, it's not going to make a difference. But what's really important is that you could probably see now that those panels are really doing a good job of catching the sun. Now the shadow, you can see here, is a bit to the left of the panels, kind of aimed more this way when the panels are aimed that way. Folks, that's just because the sun is still a little bit east in the sky. But as the sun rotates around the sky, well, the earth actually does the rotating, but nonetheless, we'll think about it as the sun. As that happens, that shadow will move to the right. And as it does, those panels will collect more and more sun as the sun moves across the sky. So that's really it, folks. Super simple. So if you're at 45 degrees, then in the summertime, set them at 30. In the winter, set them at 60. You're going to catch more production that way. It works great. And I've been doing it with this set of solar panels since I put them in 2010. Now, when I lived out here, I did adjust them more often, sometimes every month. That's a little different. And there are some great calculators online. And I will grab the calculator that I've got, that I've used all these years. I'll drop a link down below to it for you to check out. That'll help you adjust your panels throughout the year. As a simple rule of thumb, 15 degrees for the winter and summer solstice, and 7.5 when you're halfway between those. That's it. Super simple, easy to do. And if you got a ground mount panel like mine, it's just a matter of loosening up a couple bolts, tilting the panel, and walking away, folks. It works great. So there you have it. Super easy. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll drop another video right here for you to check out. Y'all have a great day. The Old Jarhead out.